Okay, good. So welcome to the meeting of the Board of Trustees, our second meeting in August 17th, 3:30 in the afternoon. Welcome, everybody. How was that rain for everyone yesterday? That was a nice storm, right? We needed that rain and we needed that reduction in humidity. So hopefully everybody's feeling better and everybody's lawns are looking nice and green. And we have our members coming from all over, pardon me, all over the country. Okay. So first order of business is to approve the minutes from the meeting of August 3rd. And I think you should have them available for viewing ahead of time. Add mine up 4. I think they look good. Let's just look them over one more time. Are there any comments, adjustments, corrections, add-ons?
They look fine to me.
It's okay by me.
Okay, good. So we had a request from LIFUS. I had mentioned at our last board meeting that the before and after day school program is going to be moving forward. However, because of COVID guidelines, the number of students that the not-for-profit can actually take, even though the building can handle more students, I believe they're either capping out at 30 or, and I think it's 30. They tried to get it even to have an additional 6 kids at 36. But according to Suffolk County guidelines, I'm sorry, New York State guidelines, every 15 number of students at the number of 15 is to be treated like its own little pod. So they can only get 2. And so therefore they've made a request to us to reduce the rental from $40 an hour to $35 an hour. I feel very comfortable with moving forward with that. This program is very valuable to our working parents, and anything we can do to help accommodate and make sure that program happens in the village of Port Jefferson is good for this community. Do we have any questions or comments from any board members on that, Rezo?
Seems like a great idea. You know, COVID is reducing the number of people they can they can serve. So I think it's good for us to reduce that, right?
Yeah. Plus, they're incurring some expenses to get their guidelines met and the PPE and the room set up. So I'm more than happy to do that. I'm very happy to see the program moving forward. We'll have the busing, the drop off and the pickup, and then the before school and after school we'll have the drop off and the parents pick up then at 6 o'clock. And I want to thank the representatives from LIFUS and Renee at the Village Center and Joe and Stan for helping put that program together. So number 3 is just some employer requests. These are for Renee. I guess a lot of the staff, Stan, are leaving for college, and typical at the end of the season we have some replacement personnel. I don't think there's any surprises there in 3A or B. 4 is also just a request from our green superintendent and Pat Sullivan to go work at the grounds of the 120th US Open. I think that's great. I meet a lot of great people there. They have a lot of companionship and they trade ideas, pick up some good skills, learn a few things. Anybody want to comment on that? Stan, do you have anything you want to add to that? You're on mute. Stan, you're on mute.
Mute, Stan.
Wingfoot is not allowed to bring in anyone from out of the state of New York. So they've had to double up this year. So Brian and Pat are going 2 days each, alternate days.
It's good. I like that. Next one, Joe, is a proposal to move our project at the DPW expansion forward. These are the costs. You've gotten several different estimates, correct?
That's correct. And in this case, this is
J.R. Holtzmacher had submitted the lowest bid. The next bid that we received was significantly higher than this bid. This is to continue on with the architecturals. It will include the structural, mechanical, electric, plumbing, some site work that needs to be done on the site as well, bidding assistance and construction services. The expansion, we have proposals or estimated cost of somewhere in the high fours to low fives to build out this space. And this is an all-inclusive proposal that was submitted by Holtzmacher, and I'd like to offer them this work. I know this is a project that the village has been working on for quite some time. We have some grant money coming in to pay for a portion of this project, and I'd like to assist and move this thing forward.
Any questions on this proposal?
I reviewed the proposal. It seems that it's in order, and it's a very complete proposal. And you know, we're really anxious to get the whole expansion of the DPW building so that you know, we can provide better service to our village residents.
And Mr. Miller, Bruce, did you have a comment, Bruce? You're on mute, Bruce. You're on mute.
I have a comment on the other.
I'll get you, Kathy. I'm sorry.
I say I have a comment on the other Holzmacher project. The
Oh,
wash
okay.
later or now?
Yeah, hold it for later because it's not part of the action. Kathy Ann, did you have a comment on this one?
I just wondered if we know the timeline. If this is approved today, what kind of timeline is there for breaking ground and getting this project started?
Well, if you look at the proposal, and I could try and back into an actual date, I believe the proposal has the amount of time it would take for each phase for their submission on the architectural side, structural side. I think it speaks in terms of weeks or days in terms of them getting their plans together. So I could try and back into an actual date that we can expect their services to be done. And then obviously we'd have to go out to bid, which will take a couple of weeks. And then after the bid process, it may take a few more weeks before we award the project and get the project started. But I could try and come up with a timeline.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like from reviewing it, it'll be at least months before we break ground. But you know, the initial part of their proposal talks about the design, and that's
Right.
you know, they're starting that as soon as we authorize them. So
Got it. Thank you.
The next item I have is number 6 is the Lightspeed software. Do you all have that as number 6?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a new software product that Brian has been working on with the Mr. Garland, who the Board of Trustees had approved, working with Brian and filling up at the Port Jeff Country Club. Stan, I think you've had an opportunity to, we previewed the software with the software provider. Mr. Garland was there, myself, Brian McMillan, Kevin Wood attended. Joe, I think you were in on that meeting. Stan, I think you were not present, but since, have you had a chance to look at it? Okay. And Stan, you're on mute, so I can't hear you, hon.
Got me now?
Got you now.
Okay. I have some questions that go beyond what I read that was sent out. I don't see a contract. Do we get
It's a month.
equipment?
It's a month to month.
Month to month, but do we get the equipment with this
I'm sorry, what equipment?
for the software?
What equipment do I need for software?
You need the program, don't we?
Yeah, everything's cloud-based.
So
Yeah.
this-
So you
this
log in
350
with a URL and it's a $350 a month service. There's no upstart cost.
and
There
we're
was
gonna-
one cost, I think, for doing a data transfer or the data dump. Joe, if you recall, and Kevin, but there's no actual software product. It's it resides on the cloud. So you
Okay,
go up to a URL and you log in, almost similar to the way the 4UP system works.
and
But everything, sorry.
we're gonna do this just for golf to start off?
Yes, I think that there was conversation, Stan, about how to use the T sheet for reserving tennis courts.
Okay,
So Brian seemed pretty confident with the software providers that they could work out tweaking or setting up T sheets for tennis court reservations too.
okay,
So the representatives there were confident that this would solve a lot of the problems they're also having up on the tennis side. But it's half our monthly cost of migrating from the 4UP system, and I think the software provided a number of tools, including a lot of different types of reporting, and they seem to think of everything that you could possibly need on the golf course side of things. So, but again, there was one additional cost that was disclosed to us, and it was for migrating the data, dumping the data, and then migrating the data over. We may see that in a separate expense. It might be what Mr. Garland is doing under his contract, or it might be an additional one-time cost.
okay,
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think I don't think it was a significant cost, and I think they said it would take 2 or 3 days to convert the data.
So, Barbie, number 7 is the election for the election workers, correct?
Yes, for the
Okay,
election
and-
inspectors and Denise, who's the chairperson. Election day is September 15th.
Denise Boyd. So are you still looking for election workers?
I could possibly use one additional from the 5 to 9 PM slot. If anyone listening is interested, they can
Okay.
contact me at Village Hall.
Great. We also then have, is number 8 Global Com? I'm just making sure I'm working off the same document.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we have, Barbara, if you could kindly circulate the study that Mr. Foxen finalized to the other board members, give them a chance to review.
I will do
It's-
that.
Yeah, it's approximately 20 pages of a PowerPoint presentation. It is kind of straightforward, but if you have questions, you can obviously connect with Bruce or myself. And as I think we reported, phase 1 kind of gave us existing conditions and some of the things that are happening in the marketplace. And phase 2 is now going to look at writing sort of a position paper for the Village of Port Jefferson on future uses of our site so that we can get in front of representatives of LIPA and partner with Grid on some of the forthcoming projects. Bruce, I don't know if you want to expand on that, you may.
Yeah, basically you've covered it, and we talked about this after a National Grid meeting. I think it's an important thing to move ahead with. This is very important to our village. And we're trying to position ourselves for the future. We know what the ramp down in taxes is going to be for the next 4 or 5 years. But beyond that is a very large question mark. And I'm glad we're working to put an answer to that question.
Yeah, I think Kyle had done an article in the newspaper. It was pretty fair. You know, it was a little intense, but it was good reporting. Okay, and then I have our warrants as presented by Treasurer Mordente and as approved by Claims Auditor Mr. Carlson. In reviewing the warrants, were there any questions or concerns? Everybody good with the warrants? And I don't believe we're going to have any other action items. So we'll make a motion then to approve 1 through 9 as presented.
Second.
Mr. Laux is seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, I'm just trying to move over to. So Couple updates on COVID-19. You know, we just wanted to, I was part of a Long Island Regional phone call project. Representatives from Suffolk County plus representatives from Nassau County have been charged with looking at the various impacts that COVID has had to our main streets and businesses downtown. And we've gathered many of those impacts, and we're writing up what we think could be solutions that we could get assistance from the state in helping us manage through this time. One of the things that was discussed was, you know, we've had a number of state liquor authority inspections at the local restaurants and bars. And it was interesting because I was actually on the South Shore this weekend, and I was kind of surprised at what I saw happening on the South Shore versus I know how hard our restaurants are working to comply on an hourly basis with the guidelines. So also in addition, there are some announcements about some of the other businesses that are opening. I think we have movie theaters in some locations are opening. We have the bowling alleys, certain locations that are opening. So we're constantly getting those updates and trying to stay abreast of, you know, guidelines for other various types of openings, none really which impact the village of Port Jefferson. Does anybody else have any comments or updates that they want to provide?
Just a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We're moving into different phases here, and I'm just wondering how the inspections are going, but also there are issues of federal money that local business people were supposed to get. Do we have any handle on how our people fared with that process?
I know that there's, are you talking about the PPP loans, Bruce?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that several of our local businesses had received the assistance loans. Their concerns were largely that the guidelines within which they were given to use that money sometimes were difficult. There's a call we're doing with Senator Gillibrand this week with Long Island Vision. And basically the crux of that phone call is to discuss on the federal level the challenges. Some of their concerns were the fact that they had to use 75% of the money within a certain time for staff and salaries. And a lot of the merchants were concerned because they was having very difficult time getting staff to come back to work, or, you know, and then only X amount was able to be used towards rent. So if you didn't follow those guidelines, then the loan was not forgiven. So we're waiting for extensions on those timelines and whether or not those guidelines are going to be softened. So that's yet to be told. And I'm sorry, what was the other question?
Well, that's good enough. That's fine.
Well, I want to say on the inspections, you know, the SLA has engaged other employees throughout Suffolk County, whether you're Department of Board of Health, SLA, or sometimes even from the social, the Family Services Department. They're all getting cross-trained to do inspections. And on any given day, you can have as many as 4 inspectors walk into your business and, you know, basically flash a badge and go right into the kitchen area to see if your staff are wearing their masks. And, you know, it can be a little intimidating. So I'd like, you know, just hope everybody stays on the good side of that inspection report. And, you know, 3 strikes and apparently the state liquor authority will revoke your license. So it's a pretty severe penalty. We unfortunately the Conservancy has made a decision to postpone the 110th hill climb. They were concerned with not having a lot of the participants who have to travel from other states to bring their antique cars, not participating. And also our Conservancy board is made up of, you know, some of our retired community members who are still a little apprehensive with coming out and volunteering. So we didn't want to see that that event go half-baked, so to speak. So unfortunately, that's been postponed till next year. I wanted to report on, I think Stan's got a lot of information here to report on happenings on the golf side of the country club. Just wanted to let the board members know that in your boxes, you have an invitation to participate in a VIP viewing area for the tennis tournaments up at the country club. The finals are planned to take place on September 12th. They will have 2 VIP tents up on court 2, so we can sit courtside and watch the tennis matches. I thought it was a wonderful idea and a great way to get us more involved in the tennis gatherings up at the country club. So I'm looking forward to that event. And if you haven't yet been to the restaurant at the country club, the restaurant is known as The Club, a public steakhouse. A few of us have been up there to partake lunch and dinner, and I find the service is great. The food is additionally very good. The renovation is a winning hit, and I was there on Saturday night, and I'm happy to say that it was fully occupied, and I think everybody was giving it a good review. So if you haven't been there, please try it. And the last issue is I know that we were getting some complaints about security at our dock at Harborfront Park. Kevin Wood is working with Code and the Seawolf on helping remediate some of the young people who are still finding it very fun to go around and do some damaging things to village-owned property and private property. So there, and also up at the country club, I know we're going to be installing some more safety and security measures with the help and assistance of the organization at the Seawolf from State University. And that's about it. The last 2 weeks kind of flew by. It went really quickly. I'm sure there's more I could talk about, but I'm going to pass the torch to Mr. DeBramo. Bruce?
Thank
Trustee?
you. I saw an article in the paper, and people have been very kind. And I have one question for our village clerk, and wanted to know what my last day is.
The organization meeting is September 21st.
Wow, I'm excited. Okay, that's great.
So we'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Bruce, can I ask you a question? The planning board is convening this week, correct? On is it the 19th or the 20th?
I think it's the 20th, and yeah, I am scheduled to be there virtually.
Okay, and that's an important hearing because hopefully they're wrapping things up with the Port Jefferson crossing or the Conifer project uptown.
Right.
So
we're hoping that they close the planning board meeting and make a decision, and I can still be in office when the bulldozer shows up.
Okay, well, even if you're not in office, you're going to participate with us. And the other thing was, I know that the architect and the developer had delivered to the planning department some of the samples of the architectural materials and the colors.
Right.
And I think 2 members of the ARC were up there this morning, continuing to submit their comments for the Conifer organization to consider. And so with that, I'm going to move on to Trustee Louts. Stan,
Am I mute or?
you're on.
I just want to go back to the COVID. On Saturday, one of our golfers had a hole-in-one, and we happened to be in the turn when it became overcrowded, and they're very well aware of the situation, and they came and asked us to disperse. So they're right on top. They're right on top of what's going on up there.
Good. By the way, who got the hole-in-one?
Chris Lepowski.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, I have a number of things in addition to what's on there. Just quick announcements. The Village Center, things are still first floor only open. The Arts Council concert series will end on August 28th. The youth camps have ended on August 4th. Although they were limited by the existing conditions, they were very successful this summer. The sport court at the center, we've decided at the last meeting, just to remind everyone, it's going to stay in place until November 9th. And as soon as that is over with, the rinks will begin to install the ice skating rink Ice skating is scheduled to start on November 27th. Our adult softball leagues are still active. Both the east and west beaches will no longer have lifeguards after September 7th. We have extended the tennis programs at the club into October this year. These programs have been very successful all summer. Some bad news, the Spring Street School is not available for us this fall. It's going to affect our recreation programs. We've been told to check back with the school district in January for a possible change in the usage of that Spring Street School.
Can you comment more on that? I'm just wondering, I had some dealings in securing that building and things. And why are we not able to schedule in the fall?
We're not, according to us, we can't schedule because they're going to be using it.
And did they give you any information what they're using it for?
No,
Okay.
no. The club championships in golf have been completed. The overall club champion, I want to talk a little bit about Shane. Shane is a local product. If you look at what I wrote there, he set an all-time club record by shooting scores of 67, 69, 73, and 67 for a total of 276. That's just incredible for a youngster. 11 under par for 4 rounds of golf on this golf course down here. It's a score that I think any pro would be happy with. And I want to offer my congratulations to Shane, a champion and a fine young man. The other individual champions, the women's club champion was Barbara Russell, and the junior champion was Nolan Woods. Congratulations to the champions. And I want to thank the many members who participated. Also, many thanks to Bill McAdon and Jerry McAdon. By the way, Jerry acted as a starter. He showed up on the first tee with his shirt and tie on, and very classy. He was our starter. We're starting our yearly membership drive now. We're offering free golf, which we call an early bird program. If you sign up now for golf and or tennis, you can play the entire fall for free. And next year, your membership is good through the entire next year. Tennis starts on the 17th, which is right around the corner. Golf will start the first day after Labor Day. We've ordered a new banner that's going to go up across Main Street. It should have been put up, I believe it's going up Monday. It's going to stay there until September 7th. Everyone knows about the arrest that we made, the golf cart episode, the mid-season reconditioning of the tennis courts. We had that done in-house this year. We saved quite a bit of money, and Eric did a terrific job. That bottom item there, gutters at the Waterview, they're creating a problem for us up there. We have to do something about those gutters. They've got one downspout on the entire east side of that building. The gutters come across the face of the building. They go down the entire east side. And when it rains hard, the water comes off that gutter and runs right down our stairway and erodes everything down to the bottom of the stairs, makes a mess. We've got to do something. We've got to,
I'm sorry, Stan, on the east side or the west side?
I'm sorry, west side.
So
Towards-
the water's running down the tennis stairwell?
It goes down the tennis stairway. It overflows into the garden.
That's probably what the issue has been with that retaining wall.
No question about it.
Yeah, okay.
We have to somehow redesign some downspouts to get rid of that water.
Or either that or put a dry well, right?
Something.
Somewhere.
I mean,
Yeah, okay.
one downspout is not going to service all that water that comes off of there. That's all I've got, I think. Yes.
And Stan, I think you just skimmed over one of your talking items was that there was an arrest made with regard to the young people that were
Yes.
vandalizing our golf carts. So we did make an arrest. And
It was kind of a lucky arrest if you people didn't see it. Apparently this young man stole a vehicle in New York City or in the Bronx somewheres, and he ended up in a high-speed chase. The car
Yeah.
overturned.
that was on I think news. It was on ABC News. It was everywhere.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he was recognized, and we still didn't get one of our golf carts back, but I'm sure the insurance company's on top of that.
Okay. But thank you. So Bruce, Mr. Miller, thank you, Stan. Nice report.
Okay. So the Architectural Review Committee is looking at the plans for the Port Jefferson crossing. Mayor Garant appointed a new member, Andrew Thomas, and the committee has warmed to him, and he seems to have warmed to the committee. We respect him for his background and his ideas. He does have some what I feel are good and constructive suggestions for the crossing project. There was a hearing prior to this one. Basically, there was the planning board was able to get in on Zoom, and the rest of the public was available only for YouTube. But I'd like to see the architectural committee have an opportunity to come in with Zoom. I don't have that much to say myself, but I think Andrew's got a good proposal that could take some looking at. That's not. It's going to take more than a YouTube kind of input.
Yeah, I think just to that point, Bruce, I think that Andrew is getting the recommendations to the planning board earlier than the hearing, so they can work with Andrew and the committee to make sure they understand it, so that they're not seeing it for the first time as part of the hearing. So thank you.
Can we get the ARC on Zoom there?
Kevin, how are you guys gonna? Do you know how they're running? Kevin, are you there?
I am here.
Do you know, are they running the hearings the way we ran our public meeting the last time?
What's the name of the group?
So it's the public hearing for the planning board, which is Thursday.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, and you're running it so that
Yes.
participants can break in like we did on for our board meeting, because that was a new change for us.
Definitely. 100%.
Okay. All right. We
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
That doesn't
Even their last, what do you call it, the public hearing, the first part of the public hearing, we had live comments from, just citizens, so it was good.
All right, so my comment is that the YouTube technology is kind of sketchy, and I'd like to see a committee of the Village of Port Jefferson, the Architectural Review Committee, be able to comment at this hearing.
So Bruce, that's taken care of. It's Kevin in the background here. They will not be on YouTube. They'll be directly in the meeting itself.
All right, thank you. We're not going to be interrupting, and you'll schedule the comments the way you will, but we would like the input. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other issue is we've talked about this a number of times in the past. Holzmacher, they're making a presentation, have made a presentation to the DEC. Joe and Dave and Steve, the representative from Holzmacher, and I met at the beach. This is a while ago. I've already mentioned that at a public meeting. And we're waiting for the DEC. That we would like to have a meeting at the site and have a conversation with them. But I had suggested a curb-like speed bump type of deflector at the bottom of a hill. If you picture in your mind, you're coming down the hill of the West Beach. As you approach the parking lot, maybe a third of the way into the parking lot, and maybe twice as wide as the corridor of the road down, so that we can deflect some of this water. This would only be a speed bump. They're all over the place. And it's not an expensive solution, but the idea that you can deflect water east and west, and not have the water rushing straight into the eroded area and creating greater erosion, and reducing the velocity of the water that would get past the curb, the speed bump, whatever you want to call it, would be a viable thing. The issues with erosion have to do with velocity of the water and the volume, and this would have an effect on both. So I'd like to see if we could think about going ahead with that. And if anybody has any objections, I'd certainly be glad to hear them. But it's something a similar curb on both sides of the road is doing its job as we speak. It's containing even stormwater from going over the edge and eroding the side of the road. Thank you.
So, Joe, you've been at the site with the DEC rep and Dave and Steve. Are you
Yeah.
guys?
We unfortunately we were not able to get the DEC rep to the site. The woman that was actually working on this project for us is out on maternity. There is someone else there that has assumed the responsibility for this project. I know Steve from Holtzmacher had reached out to her and requested an on-site meeting. To my knowledge, and I spoke to Steve today, he still has not heard back about scheduling that particular meeting. I do want to mention that, while we were out there, and, maybe we can go and meet with Steve again out there, Bruce, to look at some alternatives or additional solutions that may remediate the situation currently. But I do recall Steve mentioning that he would not suggest putting a speed bump at the bottom of that hill that would deflect the water, and had suggested possibly regrading that area if that's a route that we wanted to pursue in the event that we could not install the bulkhead. So, I mean, we can certainly meet down there again and look at some options from the top of the hill down, including maybe doing some of the cutouts of the berm in certain sections and installing the Gabion rock. We could bring the DF Stone down, who had actually suggested that. And that could be a temporary solution or something that could mitigate the situation until we do hear back from the DEC with a final solution as to whether or not we can install that bulkhead.
All right, well, we can look at the bulkhead. Basically, what I'm saying is you have the most simplest of unsolutions. I won't say it's a solution. It's not going to solve the problem, but it can, as I said, say divert water east and west, left and right as you come down the hill. And it can reduce the velocity of the water that goes over the top of the curb. One of the engineers, a different company, had suggested Gabion rock. Well, I'm not opposed to any of this, but basically what we have as far as water coming down the hill is doing the job. It's not going over the top of the curbing that was installed. And essentially this would just simply be curbing. Having less water go into that area is, in my opinion, a good option and a very inexpensive option. They're talking about regrading. You're talking a big expense. I don't know if it's necessary or not. We're talking about regrading. We're talking about driving metal bulkheading into. We're starting to escalate and get into a lot of money. And basically nothing is happening. So we run the risk of making this an awful lot worse when we could be doing something to ameliorate the situation somewhat.
Right, but again, I'm going to wait for the superintendent of highway to make a good recommendation to us, Bruce, and for us all to be down there. I think once we made application to the DEC, we obviously can't touch the beach. If there's something upland that we can do as easy as an asphalt berm, we should be doing it. So I want us to be down there and looking at and making that decision together. And if Steve said no, I don't know why he said no, but let's revisit that for sure. Now
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Stan.
I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't lift it higher. Yeah.
I've seen this work.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying you
I know,
guys have to
I
meet
know
with Steve down
Steve-
at the parking lot.
I know he's against it, but I agree with Bruce. Something like this can work.
Okay, well, I'm gonna rely on Joe and you guys to go down there and figure it out. I mean, but the DEC has made it pretty clear that we can't do anything on the, I guess it's north of the parking lot for the time being. With that, I'm gonna move on to Kathy Ann. And I'm just
Yes.
giving you guys warning that my iPad may die. So if I lose you, I'm gonna sign back on another device. Okay. So I'm not disappearing. But go ahead, Kathy Ann.
Okay. The Business Improvement District finally was able to get together to have a meeting in person outside of the village center, socially distanced, masked. And it was nice because we were able to catch up on a lot of loose ends that we left at the beginning of COVID. One of the things that has been being worked on in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce are the 2 murals that you may have seen on the electric boxes or utility boxes, I think they're called. One of them is behind Chase Bank, and the other one is between Echelon Jewelers and the steam room. And they're an underwater type scene. One of them has a big shark. They're really cool and very interesting. And I think it's a big improvement to those utility boxes that were otherwise being graffitied and just, were kind of an eyesore. So it's kind of a nice project. They're going to continue with that program and also consider local business sponsorships to bring further murals into the village. They are working currently on more advertising for television going into the fall. And we should be seeing that within the next few weeks. The update with parking. Joe, you were going to help me out with that because I haven't heard the latest update yet.
This is
Can you hear
for
me?
Barnum, or
Can
is
you
this
hear
for
me?
Barnum? Yeah, we can
I'm
hear
sorry,
you.
yes, this is for Barnum.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we have an
So-
update as of today.
Right,
Yeah,
so we met out at the site one last time, hopefully with the contractor F&F to finalize some matters related to the grading and removal of some of the trees and shrubs there. It went very well. Hopefully, or they want to mobilize this Friday, bring some equipment on site, and they want to start removing and grading some of the ground this Monday. Hopefully, we will not have another tropical storm that will delay it again. But as of Friday, they plan on mobilizing, and as of Monday, they plan on grading some of the land as well as removing some of the shrubs and trees that exist there that will have to be removed in order for this parking lot to be constructed there.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Main Street parking on the weekends. I would like to once again revisit that and discuss with all of you guys your thoughts. We have had some requests, and Kevin might want to come on and speak to this as well, that we either move forward or end. We've had requests for both of those options. And if I can remind you guys of we've changed Main Street parking on the weekends now to just pick up and delivery only, or I'm sorry, pickup and takeout only. So it's a 15-minute parking on Main Street on both sides. So I don't remember how long when we first voted to have that done, when that was supposed to expire. If anybody remembers, or we can, discuss it now and figure that out and vote on how you want to do that moving forward. If there's an end date, or if it's working, or keep it. You guys tell me what your thoughts are on that, if anybody wants to weigh in.
So Kathy, and yes, it was slated to be discussed September 8th, which is our
September,
next
okay.
meeting.
So
Yeah.
we're coming up on that. But in the meantime, we've had some complaints with businesses. Some other businesses said that they like it. We go back and forth all the time. And I always promise everyone that, we will discuss it at our next meeting, and I'll get everybody's take on it. So has anybody else heard any feedback on that, positive or negative, or what your own personal thoughts are on keeping that moving ahead?
I've heard some positive feedback about, just allowing it for pickup, from a couple of the merchants. So,
Okay.
I say you should continue to do that till September 17th.
Okay. Anyone else, or Kevin, you want to weigh in?
I'd like to probably see it go back to normal after September, whatever, 8th or 17th. I think there's reason to go with that. But we'll talk to the parking committee, which will happen before that. Get their input, get all of your input. I think everybody wants to normalize, and that would be part of the normalization. So
Okay.
we'll see. Yep.
All right. So if everybody's good with it, I'm okay with leaving it for now and through the summer, and then we will, of course, come back and discuss it in September. Okay. And that's it for my report for tonight. We lose Margot?
She's coming right back in now. And horizontal as well.
Yay.
Mayor's back.
Mayor,
Hi,
I
guys.
concluded my report.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so who's up next?
I am.
Sorry, guys. I'm still at work and I'm having trouble with all my various devices here. I didn't get home in time. Oh. Go ahead, hon.
All right, so I have three things to report on here. We issued a request for proposals to renovate the first floor Village Hall bathrooms. The submissions are due on September 8th, so we look forward to this project moving forward here. These bathrooms will be converted into single occupant ADA compliant bathrooms, and will definitely make a nice addition to Village Hall.
Thank you.
Court is actually opening up in person tomorrow. We are going to have a court session. Obviously we had arranged the courtroom in accordance to CDC guidelines. Most of the chairs were stacked up and pushed off to the side, and the stairs that remain will be 6 feet apart from each other. You will have a small agenda. I believe it's about 10 cases that will go before our justice that will be presiding, but it's certainly a good step in the right direction to get the court up and running. We received from PW Grosser today a set of preliminary plans for the drainage issue on Longfellow Lane. Those plans have been submitted to DF Stone, who is the town vetted contractor, for review, comment, as well as pricing. He responded to me already saying that he's going to make this a priority. So hopefully we'll have a proposal from DF Stone in short order that we could present to you for review and hopefully approval. This is definitely a project that has to take place. Hopefully it won't come in too high. And that's it.
Great, and I'm sorry, did we skip over Attorney Egan?
Oh,
did.
yeah, thanks. I have no report today, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Sorry, Brian.
I have a question for Brian. I have a question for Brian.
Yes.
Mr. Egan?
Yes. Have you heard any updates on when we can get back together for public meetings?
So that's a good question. So the governor has extended we can do it at any time we feel we can comply. But the governor's extended our ability to conduct meetings like this until Friday, September 4th.
Okay.
Do I predict that he'll probably extend it again? Yes, because he's indicated he's going to extend the state of emergency. So I probably think that the smart money is going to be, we're going to be meet like this probably through September. But
Okay.
as of right now, it's up till September 4th, and he has extended that generally on the day that it's set to expire the last 3 times.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's a great segue into the clerk's report. And Denise, I'm not forgetting you, but Barbara, our next meeting is, for some reason, we can't hear you, or at least I can't hear you. Can everybody else hear her?
Nope.
Barb,
Hey, Barbara, we
can't hear
tested.
you, so I'm glad I don't have your earphones. We heard you before, just fine.
He'd be joking related to us.
How's that?
Okay.
Better?
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so the next meeting is a Tuesday because Labor Day is Monday. It's September 8th, 7 PM.
So, yeah, more than likely to be convened via Zoom unless you hear before the Friday. But I agree with Brian, the governor's, updates and mandates have been coming out at the last minute. And Denise, how you doing up there in the treasurer's office? Everybody good up there?
Yeah, everything's going good. We have the auditors coming on Monday, so
Okay,
close our books and everything will be done.
okay, good,
Really, just working, keeping busy.
good, okay. Any other comments or concerns, anything to look forward to before we enjoy our Labor Day weekend? Can you folks believe it's actually Labor Day weekend already? I
No.
have no idea where the time has gone, and it's just been, what's summer? I mean, it's been hot, and we've been out there, but I guess it's surreal, and I just can't believe it's already going to be September the next time we see each other via Zoom. So enjoy the last licks of summer, as they say, and stay safe and enjoy a long weekend. And we'll see you again on the 7th, if not before.
On the 8th.
The 8th, I apologize, on the 8th. Wait, doesn't it say the 7th?
It says the 7th.
It
on
says the
agenda.
7th. It says 7 PM, but it's September 8th, which is the Tuesday at 7 PM.
Oh, I see. It says September 7 PM, so it looks a little confusing. All right, so it's the 8th at
8th,
7 PM.
PM, Tuesday.
Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you, Kevin, for setting up the meeting.
I move we
Bruce?
adjourn.
Yeah, and thank you, Lorraine, for always being there to take our minutes. And there's a motion on the floor to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.